Okay, I'm right back at it, and if you're new to my content, let me get you up to speed real fast. I'm just a guy that didn't grow up handy. I didn't grow up wanting to work with tools, and I didn't know how to fix things. One day I decided that I wanted to feel capable with a toolbox, so I just started to learn. I'm far from a professional, and every project you see me tackle is a first time experience. If you're the type of person that's never been handy and never had the right influence around you to build up your confidence to be able to do it, this is the place for you. Use my confidence as your motivation because I'm telling you, anybody can do this. Alright, now let's get to what I'm actually doing here. Like I said earlier, if you like this video, there are other parts to this project, so go back to my pages and check them out. Now this project is all about our house not having any running water right now. Our water pump that pulls water in from the lake, puts it into a pressure tank, and sends it through the water lines, decided to call it quits. So after realizing I was going to have to replace that pump, I decided to replace the water pressure tank as well. Now I've run into a big problem because after I installed the new pump, it's actually still not drawing water from the lake through the original water line. So I've had to get creative and design a water reservoir system so we can at least flush the toilet and shower. So I just finished testing my little 5-gallon pail prototype, and it works. So I'm going to bring the 70-gallon barrel in. The downside to this system is I'm going to have to fill it by hand, which means I'm going to have to walk back and forth from the lake with 5-gallon buckets every time I want to fill the barrel. But it is a 70-gallon barrel, so we should get a good amount of use out of it before it needs to be topped up. You might be thinking, why don't you just set up the pump to pull water out of the lake again? But I can't do that without the water line freezing. If you're watching this and you know of a better system, feel free to comment. I'd love to hear it. I always want to learn. Alright, here we go. The beginning of the next mistake that I make. But it's no big deal. We fixed it. Now, I've been back and forth to Home Depot. I can't even count how many times trying to get the right parts. So at this point, the last thing I want to do is get back into the car again. I'm also trying to spend as little money as possible when I do these projects and use whatever resources that I already have. So I need a good amount of tubing that will connect from the pump and go into this reservoir tank so it'll be able to pull the water out of the reservoir tank. The problem is that I don't have any more of the high pressure, thick tubing, but I do have this stuff that I'm going to see if that'll work. If you're watching this and you have any experience doing any type of project like this, you can probably already see the mistake I'm going to be making. Okay, so thankfully this rain barrel that I'm using, it already has a hole in the side of it. It just needs to be widened a little bit so I can get this tubing into it. So I'm just using a hole saw bit and a drill. The next step is putting something called a foot valve on the end of the tubing. I had no idea what a foot valve was until I had to do this job. A foot valve is used to stop the water from coming back out of the tube after it's already been sucked in. Now, even though I'm about to make a big mistake, it doesn't matter because your confidence comes from learning from your mistakes and fixing them and not being afraid to make them in the first place. I wish that this was captured on camera because my phone died just as this tubing split open and drenched me from head to toe as I ran the system. It's not rated for the amount of pressure, and now I have to go back to Home Depot after I changed. Now you might be thinking that's a lot to go through, but I'm telling you, the confidence that you gain by completing these tasks and feeling successful after knowing nothing is priceless. Just because you didn't grow up handy and you don't know how to use tools now doesn't mean you can't learn. Now I've got my new pressure rated tubing and I'm just going to cut it to size. Now I'm going to have to repeat this process again. I got to get that foot valve off the old tubing and get it on this new tubing. Last but not least, I got to do something that's called priming the line. Now, I had no idea what this meant until I had to do this project, but I learned what I had to do. The tubing has to be completely filled with water in order for the jet pump to actually make suction and pull water through. So now that I've got the line completely primed, it's almost time to test out the system. Now comes the real test to see if my copper lines hold up and if all my fittings don't leak. And I'm happy to say that it works. I have no copper leaks, I have no fitting leaks, I got water through the whole house, everything is working. Now, the water running is great, but the most valuable thing that came from this is the extra skills that I added to the list of things that I know I'm capable of doing. If you like this video, remember there are other parts to this project, so go back and check them out. Come on this journey with a guy who used to know nothing, but now knows something, and built the confidence to be able to tackle any project that comes his way. Look out for more videos to come, and remember, you can do this just like I can.